All right, so I'm working on the deck beams forward here, and I've been kind of contemplating this for the last day and a half or so what the best way to do this is. The last video you saw that I put marks on these on the frame tops there to show level between port and starboard side. And I've got the first deck beam screwed lightly into place right here to establish the beginning of the rest of the deck beams. And we want them to flow smoothly, of course. So what I've done is I've taken a couple 2x4s. Actually, the other one's a 1x4, but and stretched them across here. I've got them clamped in place, and they go, as far forward as I can get a 20-footer to go. So it looks pretty good. We've got our level point established here on each of these back corners, because this frame was put in on the level marks on both sides, starboard and port. And then I did the same thing up forward on the very two far forward frames. If you can see them, I think you can probably see them up there. The frames way up there. They're very forward frames right there. And then of course over here. And I measured from the top, or from that line, to get those level. So that means the deck should be level port to starboard. And the boat is as level as I can get it, and it's really, really, really close. So, the rest of the boat is as level as it can be. And so what I did then was I came back and I checked a couple of times at several places along these frames in the middle here, and I measured against my marks over on the other side here to make sure that they were consistent, and they are. And then I measured from the chine up to make sure that they were consistent, and they were, amazingly enough. So I think I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. I think I'll put a couple screws in these boards on either side, over there, and then over here. Put a couple screws in, a couple more clamps, and then I'll set my beams up on there, and I'll start tacking the beams into place, or clamping them into place perhaps first, and then going from there. But I don't know if there's much else I can do here. And I don't know if we really took out that dip. We probably did a little bit. That dip that I was talking about, that the deck does coming back here, we're going to take that out a little bit at least by doing it this way. I didn't want to just start putting deck beams in and then hoping they wound up being smooth across the top of the deck. So I think this is going to be the best way to do it. And hopefully by the end of this evening I should have the rest of these tacked into place, these beams up here, and then I can start taking all these cross supports out. And I actually moved a bunch of these cross supports lower. I talked about that once in the back there. I had a little strap, cargo strap to keep these beams, or to keep the frames rather, at their proper distance. So if they spread out a little bit, when I took these screws out, I could pull them back to where they should be. I marked them with a pencil first, and I start doing that again here. But it looks to me like these are all pretty stable, and I suppose part of that is due to the fact that I've got these, like these floor stringers here, these cross pieces here. They're in there too, which is helping to keep everything, from moving one way or the other. But that's the whole point, is to get these deck beams in, so then I can take all this stuff out and start putting permanent in. I think my lumber that I ordered for the floor supports, the sole supports, I think will be here tomorrow. And I can get to work on that then. And then I'll also have to put bolts in, of course, all these deck beams up here. But, you know, I was talking about one of the things that I was having troubles with was the height back here. And this one is only 6 feet. It's, if I stand up straight, my head's hitting on this one. So I think I'm going to have to lower the sole just a little bit, a couple inches anyway. But I don't know if you can see it. Everything angles upward from back here, and the floor stays level. So the ceiling gets higher the farther in here we go. Like I've just got this deck beam up here just sitting here now, and it's, you know, my head is about here. So I got, you know, 6 inches. So I got about 6'8" probably right here. Somewhere in there. I could probably actually measure it. See if we can do this without dropping the camera. In the middle anyway. Let's see that, yeah, 6, 7, and 5/8. Yeah, so there's going to be plenty of headroom up forward. It's just a little bit shallow back there. So maybe I won't, I don't know, I'll get this next beam in, this next deck beam in here, and we'll see what kind of headroom I've got on this one before I make any big decisions. Because as you come down the companionway, which is going to be right in here, right over there, as you come down that companionway, as soon as you step onto the floor, you're going to be a couple feet out anyway, and it might be high enough already. We'll see. Of course, if I don't put an overhead in, you know, a headliner in, you could still stand in between the beams too, but not that you really want to do that, but that would give a taller person a little bit more headroom. And that's also why I rounded off all these corners, so when you do crack your head on here, it lessens the blow. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to get back at it. I think this is going to work. We'll find out here not too long.